Recording.
How is everybody doing today? Let's see some thumbs up. Awesome. Raise your hand if you are excited for some amazing cooking that's about to happen. I see it. I see a lot of people there. So while we wait for everybody to join, feel free to go ahead and hit the link in the chat if you want to engage in our survey here. As we can see, we've got folks that feel super prepared for the class, that are looking forward to it. And it looks like the biggest one is this recipe sounds like something I will enjoy eating. I think all of us are in agreement with that. And we have, let's see, some.
Can you put the link again, please?
Absolutely. And let's see, we've got that there. All right, here is the link. And we have got, let's see what some other folks are thinking about. So one of the questions was, have you done any cooking on your own since our last class? We've got making my school lunch. Wow. I'm very interested to hear what that was. Always doing cooking for a while by myself. Yes, at my grandparents' house, I cook breakfast. That is awesome to hear. So while everybody is getting ready for our amazing Chef Tamika to launch us into our cooking class, I just want to go over a couple reminders. Oh, I just saw baked a lemon cake. That sounds unbelievable. So remember what we're going to do in the beginning. If anybody has any questions before we start, we'll give time for that. If you do have questions during the cooking portion of the Zoom, you can throw those into the chat. You can also raise your hand either like that, or you can raise it in the Zoom. We want to try to keep everybody the class running smoothly, so it helps if you can raise your hand or put those questions in the chat, and our food guru Gay will be able to answer any questions you may have while Tamika is showing us how to cook these amazing energy balls. So before we get started, let's see. Oh yeah, we've got some more folks that are excited and ready to enjoy this awesome recipe. So what I'm going to do real quick is I will stop sharing my screen, and we are going to get ready for some cooking. So right now, in the next couple of minutes, if anybody has any questions before we get started as far as ingredients or anything you would like to ask Chef Tamika, please feel free to raise your hand, or you can also throw it right there in the chat box. All right, any questions for anybody before we start?
No, I'm okay.
Can you grate an apple?
I had a question.
I have a question. It says 1 cup of grated apple.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm going to show it to you. So we have, thank you for your great question. Can I hold off and answer that question once I get to the apples? Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you so much, Alec and team. I'm super excited to be here with your team again. Again, I'm Chef Tamika, and I absolutely look forward to these classes. This class is right at the beginning of summer. And I know from the work that you guys do that you're outdoors or active people, right? You guys are outside, hiking, walking, playing sports, and I do the same. And I was thinking about how do we do something that we can use in the summertime? Now, I don't know about you, but my kitchen gets pretty hot in the summertime. So I like to make sure I have really delicious food. I don't want to stand by the stove for too long, right? And so today's recipe is a no-bake energy ball. Who knows what energy balls are? Energy bites. Yeah. Anyone want to say like really quickly? You can unmute if that's okay. Just what you think an energy bite is.
Something that gives you energy, or like, or something healthy.
Yep. So that sounds good. Excellent. So it's a really tiny packed either ball or bite. It's like a delicious candy bar type food, but everything inside is good for you, right? So it has oatmeal, that's good for, it has fiber, it has fruit, it has a sweetener, but usually a really good quality sweetener like honey or maple syrup. And then it has all the things that you might like. It might have a few dried fruit. It could have M&Ms, I heard. It could have also have cookies or chips of cookies. So I love that energy bites are a quick way if you're on a hike and you're super tired, and you have that last like 100 feet to go, you pop one in your mouth and you're ready to go. It gives you some energy. How does that sound? And this is a super cheap way to make a whole bunch at home. Put them in little baggies and you can have them for your family and for your friends. They also make really good gifts. Imagine giving your friends homemade energy bites. All right, so let's dive in. So as usual, we like to remember, oh, there's a hand. There's a hand.
Yeah, my question is, what if you don't have like a paper sheet, like one of those things? I use tinfoil, aluminum foil.
That is really good substitution. Thank you. Yes. Just a clean surface where you can put them on is perfect.
And I'm learning about proteins.
Can you repeat that?
Can you repeat that, please?
Oh, I said that, what if you don't have a baking sheet?
So any flat surface, like a dish is okay. Do you have a flat dish, like a dinner plate? Done. That's it. That's good. Dinner plate, a flat sheet, a piece of paper, anything to lay them on, or even your countertop if it's really clean. Great questions. So as usual, a really good chef is an organized chef, right? Let's go through all our ingredients to make sure we have everything in place, and then we'll start. So when I name out the ingredients, just go ahead and say check or make sure you have it. If you don't, just let Gabe know in the chat and we can talk about it. How's that sound? Thumbs up? Yeah. All right. So the very first thing we have, it's called old-fashioned oats. It's really just plain oatmeal, plain oats. So usually the big brand is called Quaker. It comes in that big round barrel. Just 2 cups of that in a bowl, ready to go. Perfect, looks great. The second thing we need is grounded flaxseed. So flaxseed are really, really tiny, wonderful, healthy seeds, but these have been like crushed out or grounded into almost like a powder. And that should have been in your box, right? This is like a magic, amazing way to add more protein to your food without it being an animal protein. So that should be ready to go, and that should be a 1/4 cup. The next thing you should have is some cinnamon. And cinnamon smells so beautiful, right? If you don't have cinnamon, nutmeg is also fine. It just adds a really nice spice. Think about like pumpkin spice in the fall. Yeah, perfect. So cinnamon, grounded cinnamon. We also want you to have a tablespoon of, a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of honey. I think you're talking about flowers this month, and honey is a super, super important part of our ecosystem. Bees make honey from sucking the nectar of flowers, and they pollinate and they make honey. So honey is one of the most natural sweeteners there is. That's really, really good for you. If anyone you know, like an aunt or uncle or grandma, has any kind of like illnesses that affects their sugar, I think honey is a great way to have a natural sweetener that doesn't affect them too much. So honey is available. The next thing we have to look for is vanilla extract. So a little bit of vanilla, check. And then we need a pinch of salt. And really we need a pinch, not a big pinch, a tiny pinch. A pinch works out to be about 4 teaspoons or so. If you aren't too sure about how much a pinch is, probably a 1/4 teaspoon or so. And then the question that, is it Rachel asked earlier about a grated cup of apple. So I have a 1 cup measuring container, right? And I took a whole apple. I think this adds for a green apple or red apple, your favorite apple. And then if we could spotlight the board, I took my apple. If you have a coring device, that's perfect. I don't. I cut my apple in 2 pieces, and then I remove the center, which is the core, by laying it flat and removing the center. So one more time, round apple, down the center, into 4s, and ask an adult to help you with this if you're not so good at using a knife. And what we're looking for is 4 really nice pieces of apple. And then once you have those, I have my trash container over here. I take a box grater and I grate my apple. This is something you may want to have an adult or a parent or someone in your household to help out with. And then we're looking for grated apple that looks like this.
Are we keeping the skin?
Question, one more time.
Are we keeping the skin on?
We are. You know why? That skin on that apple provides really good fiber, and fiber is really good for your tummies, your digestive system.
Okay.
We are keeping the fiber, the skin on. It also adds texture, so it makes it a little bit crunchy and give it like lots of variety in its taste. And you're gonna pack that into a 1 cup container.
Can you just like slow down a little teeny tiny bit? Sorry, I'm trying to.
The entire apple.
Can you go over the apple thing again, cutting the apple?
One more time.
Could you go over the apple, like scanning the apple?
Absolutely. So
Because
if you
we
have a
can't-
round apple. Apple has a top and a bottom. Have it sit on its bottom on your cutting board, right? So the stem is up. If you have a coring, an apple coring, that's easier. You can just remove the core. If you don't, I'm gonna have you hold your apple firmly and safely and ask for someone to help you put a knife through the center. So you have 2 halves. In that half, you'll find the core. The core has the seeds. So fruit usually has really nice flesh or pulp around the seed. So that's where you have a half. Next, on the flat side down on your cutting board, you're gonna try and go all the way through the center again in a half. So you have a quarter apple. Now we still have that core, right? We still have that seed. Now this is the tricky part. You're gonna angle your knife and then remove that core. Let's see. Got it? Again, the best way to get something is to practice. You keep trying. So if you have someone in the house who can help you with that, it doesn't need to be perfect. You're really just trying to remove the core. Other folk have other ways of doing so. Some folks have removed. My son is at my feet. He wants to come and help me out. Some folks have used a spoon to remove the center. That's also an option. Okay. So hands up if you have your apples ready to go. You need some time like I do. I'm gonna keep grating my apple. I'm actually gonna have Alexander help me with my apples by grating my apples. And you're looking to have an entire cup of apple. So you can use a measuring cup like this one or a measuring cup like this. So let's do that together. Any questions on that?
Can you put your camera down a little bit? We can't see.
To see on my cutting board like this one here. Alex, is this something you can let me, am I okay on my camera?
That's better, Tamika. We can see your board better now.
Perfect, thank you. Let's break our apples together and we're looking for a cup. Once we have that cup of apple, we should be ready to combine all our ingredients in a bowl. If anyone has questions or still working on the apple, please let me know, or let Gay know in the chat.
We just finished cutting. We're gonna grate now.
Sounds good. Thank you for that feedback.
Thank you.
How are other folks doing?
I'm still working on the apple.
Me too. Yeah, let's do it together. Thanks for letting me know.
Some of you may notice if you grate your apples that they start to turn brown, which is totally fine.
They do.
That's them being exposed to the air. If you don't,
Yes.
it doesn't affect the flavor and it's not bad for you. But if you don't like the look of the brown, you can actually put a little lemon juice or something else acidic on your apple. That'll keep them from
Nick.
going brown.
Thank you so much, Nick. That was the reason I didn't have my apple already grated. I wanted to wait until we're in class to do it together. Again, ugly doesn't mean not tasting good. It just means it's not as, as clean. A great tip. Thank you. So once folks have their apple ready, we can start combining. And so I'll show you, I have a cup of grated apple. A cup for me is about a medium apple. If you had a large apple and there's some left over, just eat it. Comes an easy snack. So are folks seeing that? 1 cup, and that's ready to go. And as usual, I like to have a nice empty bowl that becomes my trash. A very organized chef makes for delicious food. So I'm gonna clean up while you guys finish up your apple grating.
What side of the, I have a cheese grater. What side should we
I
use?
use the larger of a box grater. We have a cheese grater. Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're looking for a shredded, so not quite as small. I say like.
Is this the side I'm supposed to use?
Yes, perfect. If it's a 4-box grater, you should be the medium. Kind of like cheese blend, little strips. All right. How are we doing? Thanks for those great questions.
We're still not done with the apple.
Okay. So while you're still working on the apple, the last ingredient is optional and it's dried fruit. It could be raisins, it could be figs, and then chopped up, or cranberries. And that's not required, but if you like a little bit of dried fruit, that's an option. So I'll wait until.
I had a quick question about that. My daughter doesn't like raisins, but I do. Is there a way I could put them in like after? Because I know we put them in scoops, right?
Yes. I say maybe have 2 batches, or like combine all the ingredients and then make some balls without raisins, leave a little bit of leftover and then add raisins in after. So once they go in, it's gonna be hard to take them out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course, great question. And while you had that question, I also added some nuts to mine because I like a little bit of extra protein and I like the crunch of nuts. Once it's safe in your house, as in everybody in your house is okay with having nuts, you can add that to your protein, your energy bites as well. If there's anyone in your house who can't have nuts, I'll say let's not have it, okay? So it's another option, only if it's safe. Now the star ingredient is the one I haven't mentioned yet. So the nut butter, or rather sunflower butter. So the butter here, in my case, I have peanut butter because it's safe to do so in my house. In your box, you would have had sunflower butter. And sunflower, the actual sunflower plant, those seeds are grounded to make a butter and it's delicious. And so we have a 1/4 cup of, or a 1/2 cup of sunflower butter. And that becomes a gooey binding agent. Binding agent means something that pulls things together, that allows you to roll your balls and shape them into an energy bar. Okay. All right, how are we doing, apple people? How are the apple folk doing? Are we good on our apples?
We're still grading here,
All
sorry.
right, no worries. Don't be sorry. That's okay. That's okay. I think we're doing pretty good on time.
Adding my wheats and stuff.
I missed your question. One more time, please.
Never mind.
Okay. I love how busy everyone is, working through their recipes and measuring, scooping, lots of action going on, lots of grating. You guys have become quite the busy professional chefs. Looking good.
Is there a way to do it without hurting yourself?
The grading.
Like
Yeah, grating is a pretty tricky job. I like to grate until I have little pieces. Once my finger, it's really up to you. So once you feel safe enough, you grate it down, I stop. Another option that might be a little bit, if you have what's called a food processor, that's an option. It's a bigger cleanup. It's almost like a blender that just processes your fruit and makes it into like shredded pieces. That's pretty quick.
Ooh, we have a blender.
A blender might make it into pulp, which is too
Too small, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my daughter wanted to grade it, but I said, oh, no. So I took over.
Slow and safe, no hurry. It's
Yeah.
an acquired skill. It takes a little bit of time to get there.
When you have that little nub left, that's too small to grate, you can take a kitchen knife and chop it up really small, and you usually can't tell that it's different.
Oh, I like Nick's idea. I usually just eat it. That's
Some vegetables I'll leave the stem on purpose. Like a carrot, I won't trim the stem off because then it's kind of a little end to hold on to.
Yeah, great.
Do I use all of the sunflower seed in the 1/2 cup?
You need to measure it.
We need a 1/2 cup measured, and we'll hold on to that. So we're not combining anything just yet, but ideally you should have a 1/2 cup of sunflower butter measured and ready to go.
How much butter measured and ready to go?
1/2 cup.
Okay, I only have one measuring cup here, and I'm using it for the apples.
Okay. Maybe transfer the apples into a container if you've already measured. If it's 1 cup, I'm gonna have you use your instinct and your judgment and go 1/2 of that. So 2 halves make that whole. So if you only have a 1 cup measuring, I'd say estimate 1/2 of that.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
If you only have a 1 cup measuring cup, I transfer, after I've measured my apple, I transfer it into a bowl.
Well, I put the oats in a big bowl. Is this gonna go into the oats?
It is, but I like for us to keep them separate for now.
Okay,
Please.
okay. I'm almost.
Yeah, of course. How are other folks doing? I see some more grating happening. How are folks doing?
In there.
Okay. Are you feeling okay for, I see some chopping or cutting happening. Thank you. So Gabe put the measurements, put the hacked, so to speak, in the chat. So this 1 cup measuring is really 2 of these. So using your best judgment, just go halfway up. The thing about baking versus cooking, if this was a recipe for the oven, you want to be very, very precise because baking is scientific, right? Any differences might change the texture of your cake you're making, but it comes on to this kind of like no bake recipe that's really up to you. You want to be as precise as possible, but if you're a little bit off, it's okay. I've heard that baking is a science and cooking is an art. So every art is a little bit different, right? You may like bright blue. I like light blue. So that might be more cinnamon, less cinnamon. So trust your instinct and look for 1/2. You got it. All right, shall we? I only move on your request. Do we go?
30 more seconds.
Okay, you got it. You got it. And
What is it inside the?
I'll be back in 30 seconds and we're ready to go. Okay. So I'm gonna reach over and grab my baking sheet because I don't have that ready. And then we're gonna be all ready to go. I see some combining happening. If you're an advanced chef, go ahead. But I just say wait for all of us to do it together. That really is more fun for me for us to do it together, okay? Let's do it together.
Well, it's
What
a
do we
mess.
do with the butter now?
You have it measured and you're gonna hold on to it for now.
Oh, okay.
Measure to
Sounds
1.
good?
Yeah.
What is the measurement?
All right,
What's
team,
what's the measurement
for the butter?
half
for
a
the
cup.
butter?
Okay, thank you.
All right, shall we?
Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Great questions. All right, so our first step is to line our baking sheet with parchment paper if you have it. If you don't have parchment paper, that's fine. The point is to have a flat surface, and I'm purposely gonna use just a flat, this is for my toaster, right? No fancy equipment needed. I reach into my toaster and I grab this and it's flat. If you have parchment paper, that's really good. If you don't, that's fine. If you have aluminum foil, that's fine. If you have a plate, that's fine, right? Let's not make like special equipment. Some of us are making delicious food. So toaster tray, that's all I got. Everybody has something flat to put their bites on. It just needs to be something you can leave them on for a few minutes while they set. All right, so once we have that, let's just dive in. So our first step was to get our flat tray ready, and our second one is to start combining things. So you should grab a wooden spoon or a spatula, just something to combine. Looking good, looking good. All right, so your rolled oats goes in. Done. Your flaxseed meal goes in. Done. I like to put things away immediately. You're also gonna put your cinnamon, right? And just for confirmation, that's a 3/4 cup, sorry, 3/4 teaspoons, not cups, teaspoons. That'll be way too much.
How many spoonfuls can I put in?
So 3/4 teaspoon is what's advised. If you have like a teaspoon you use for like making your tea or for taking like sugar or honey to make your tea, that's enough. The cinnamon here is to give some flavor, right? Some spice. But also spice is really good for our tummies. So that goes in. And I say mix those together. Now here's the thing, if you are using the dried fruit, it goes in here. If you're not using the dried fruit, that's fine. If you're making 2 batches, I'd say don't add the dried fruit right now and add it towards the end. I can tell you when. And all those are mixed in. That's done. Now the dry ingredients were combined. Next, I'm gonna combine my wet ingredients. So you should have another bowl ready. It could have been the one that just had the oatmeal.
Can you just give it, gosh, can you just slow down
A little bit.
a little bit?
Of course, tell them where you are.
My bowl isn't big enough.
Wait, what'd you say?
Move. I have to switch this into a pan. The apples, the oats, and now 3 things of cinnamon, I guess.
Yeah, I just one makes your teaspoon, please.
Oh,
Do you have a smaller teaspoon, the kind you use if you're making tea? Like
Yeah,
just like stirring in your milk. If you're using that one, I go halfway of that with cinnamon, just a half of that.
A half a,
Yes, perfect.
oh, wow, okay.
That's
Yeah,
yours.
this is my small spoon.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
How are folks doing? So you should have in your large bowl the 2 cups of oats, the flaxseed, and the cinnamon. If you're using raisins or cranberries, that should be in there. If you're not using it, it's completely okay. You haven't missed anything. Great, looking good, looking good. Now in a smaller bowl, so we had our dry ingredients. Now we gotta put our wet ingredients together. Do I still need to slow? Yep, I see some folks looking ready. Okay, so your wet ingredients now will include the sunflower butter, that half a cup, that goes in. Now look, oh, it's all sticky. So I need to use my spoon or my spatula to get it out. So that goes in. That's my
So-
first.
We have these small packets. How many should we use?
What's the measurement on that packet?
Do you want us to add the
Somebody,
I was asked 1.16 ounces, if that helps.
1.6 ounces.
33 grams.
Okay, could you then take your cup that you had earlier and squeeze those in until you fill up halfway?
Okay, and how much are we looking to get?
Half a cup.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think some folks already
More than
did that.
3
Some folks
packets.
already,
Should be about 3 to 4 packets, I would think.
okay.
And that's in a different bowl, right?
In the bowl for the wet ingredients, it should be the only thing in that bowl right now. So you should have 2 bowls going. One with dry, that goes aside. And right now we're doing wet, that should have your sunflower butter, a half a cup. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna keep moving, but let me know if I should slow down, okay? Sounds good? We're gonna put our honey in. The honey should be a 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon. Now, the way I like to do this is you put the 1/4 cup in and you hold a little bit back, just in case your ingredients are too dry, then that extra tablespoon will be needed. That beautiful honey goes in. Thank you to all the bees and all their hard work.
Are the apples supposed to be in with the oats?
I think so.
Not just yet. So only
Okay,
the
well-
apple counts as wet ingredients in this instance. So only the things that are dry.
We put it in. We put it, the apples in with the oats. That's what I thought you said.
Okay, no worries. That's okay. We'll adjust. We'll adjust. So what we're trying to do is put dry ingredients in one bowl, wet ingredients in one bowl, and then we'll combine them to make our bites or balls. So right now we're combining our wet ingredients. We just put our honey and our sunflower butter. We're gonna put our vanilla. And our vanilla here should just be 1 teaspoon. I just kind of eyeball it. And then a pinch of salt. The pinch of salt is really a tiny pinch. Imagine you're like pinching yourself to make sure you're still here. That's a pinch. If you do want to measure it, I'd say a 1/4 teaspoon. And what the salt does is to balance all those sweet flavors. So your apple is sweet, right? Your honey is sweet. The nut butter is creamy, or the sunflower butter is creamy. The salt allows them to talk to each other nicely, right? Imagine a bunch of different people in the same room. We need something to say, hey, you, become friends. The salt acts as an agent to really balance all those flavors, the sweet with the really nutty flavors. And that should be ready to go. Now we're ready to combine. In my case, I have nuts. I put my nuts in my dry ingredients. And the very last ingredient we have is the apples. If you already add your apples, that's okay. We'll make it work. If everyone's here, can I have a thumbs up? I'm gonna grab a spatula for myself, or a spoon rather. Are we here?
No, not yet.
How can we measure the honey?
It's
The honey, do you have a measuring You only have a 1 cup
I
measuring cup,
do.
right?
I just have,
Is that 1 cup? That looks like a half or a third.
no, it's 1/8 cup. I can't find
Two
the
of
other.
those, if that's 1/8 cup, then you would do 2 of those for the honey.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, too fast for me.
Sorry. So shall we start to combine? Now your apple is still out, right? And so you have your dried ingredients. And when I say dry, when I put my hands in these, except for the person who already did the apple, you see they're dry. Nothing wet is in here. So dried ingredients. Wet ingredients are the things that can move around. They're sticky, they're gooey, they're wet. I'm gonna now take my wet ingredients and pour into my dry ingredients. One really cool trick is to make a little, imagine going to the beach and making like a sandcastle. Make a little opening in the center, right? To receive all that yummy, delicious honey and sunflower butter. A little hole in the center, and then taking a spatula or taking a wooden spoon, you put all your wet ingredients in. I did see some folks wearing gloves, so you can just dive right in with your fingers or your hands, or you can use your spoon to start combining. And what you'll notice is that the dry ingredient starts to adhere or stick on to the wet ingredients. And what we're looking for, have you ever seen like cookie dough? We want it to start looking like cookie dough. So I had really clean hands. You could wash your hands one more time to be sure, and then dry them, and then just like go all the way in there. And we're looking to combine these kind of like you're making like cookie batter, or you're making bread, or making something gooey. You're gonna rub these together. And the idea is to make sure all your little oats get wet or get really like soaked with the delicious honey, the delicious sunflower butter. All your cinnamon gets to be worked in. Yep. Once you feel like all your oats have been touched by honey or touched by sunflower butter, I'll show you what that might look like. Alec, please spotlight this camera here. Are folks seeing that? It should also smell really delicious.
What have you combined in that bowl so far?
I've combined everything at this point except for the apples, but I think you already had your apples in. So if I were you, I'd throw everything in except for my raisins, because if I heard you correctly, you're trying to do some with or without raisins, correct?
Yes, my daughter doesn't like them and I do.
I see throw everything in your bowl at this point, except your raisins.
Okay, what about chocolate, little chocolate morsels? Can we do that?
You could do chocolate, yeah.
Okay, we have tiny ones.
All right, go for it. How are other folks doing? Ooh, I see some delicious combinations going on. Yeah? All right. Once you feel like all your oats have been touched by honeys, right? And all your oats have a little bit of cinnamon and butter, and you have this gooey texture, I'm gonna have you take your apple and pour in. Now, if your apples are like mine, they're a little brown and juicy, which is fine by me. And then you're gonna further use either a spoon or a spatula to combine those. It should be feeling like really sticky at this point. Again, think cookie dough. But at this point, I'm gonna have you to start squeezing. Like every time you stir them in, you get a little squeeze. And that squeeze is trying to bind them together. You're gonna stir and squeeze, stir and squeeze. This could be done with a spoon as well. But you know what? Your hands are almost the best tool in the kitchen. You're gonna squeeze, 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 trying to combine. If there's any hanging out on the edges, you're gonna pull those in. And just start thinking about being outdoors on a beautiful day and you're having these as a snack.
Did you do the flax seed?
Pardon me?
Did you do the flax seed?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, we didn't even do
At
that.
this point, all your ingredients should be combined in one large bowl. And you're gonna start using your fingers to make like dough and squeeze those ingredients together.
And you can still add the flaxseed. It's not too late.
Absolutely.
Pour it in and you're just
absolutely.
gonna have to work it in with your hands.
So my measuring cup is being used right now with the wets. Any recommendations how I can make one bowl without the measuring cup?
Maybe
One more
just
time.
rinse the measuring cup out and start over. And that would be 2 of those 1/8. You had the small one that was 1/8 that you used for the honey, or you could use half
Yes.
of the 1 cup, you know? Yeah, that works. You can use that as long
I
as
have
you,
the honey and the other stuff in this measuring cup
Oh.
right now. That can go in now though, right?
that's the wet stuff. The wet stuff should be in there now. And then, yep. And then you can rinse something out and add your flax.
Cool, thanks.
Just to clarify for anyone who's wondering, the reason a lot of recipes have you do this, combining wet and dry separate and then bring them together later, is just to reduce the amount of time you have to stir. Because if you combine the wet stuff together, it takes less stirring. If you combine the dry stuff together, it takes less stirring, and then it's a little easier when they go together. You can just throw them all in a bowl. You're just going to stand there longer and stir it.
It also spreads out the flavors more easily this way. If things are
Exactly.
combined ahead of time, then all the flavors are a bit more evenly
Yeah,
combined.
when I haven't done that in the past, I find sometimes I get areas of the food that have more of one than the other because I didn't combine it well enough. But it's
Perfect.
still
Perfect, thank you. And that's why we're trying to get every bit of oatmeal to be touched by honey, touched by cinnamon. What I did was I went ahead and made balls. So once my ingredients were all combined, it became super sticky. I took, I'd say like a golf ball or a, kind of give me another description for this size. Together, palm of my hand, and I roll them into balls. So like meatball size, like tiny meatball size. They're rolled. Now this rolling movement is gentle, right? If I press them down, I'm gonna lose the shape. It's like a really gentle rolling. Now I'm looking for these nice bite-sized. It's a sticky job.
Okay.
Do I need to turn on the oven or?
These are no bakes. So everything that was in here could be had, could be consumed, could be ate by itself without being cooked. You
So
do
when we
need to spend
feel-
probably,
When we feel like the oats have all been touched by honey, then we add the apples.
yes. Yes. So when you feel like your cinnamon has been evenly distributed, the honey and the nut butter, there's some clumps there, they've been spread out.
Oh,
Again,
it's
like Nick says, when you have this, you want to make sure you're tasting all the flavors in this one ball.
yeah.
Excuse me, do we need real butter?
Oh, you meant the sun butter.
The nut butter, the sunflower butter rather. The butter in this case refers to them pounding those sunflower seeds and making a butter. So not actual milk butter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if folks are there, ooh, who is that? There's some pros in this room. I've only done one ball. You guys are awesome. I love it. Everybody has their own pace. So work at your own pace. I see someone chewing. So I'm gonna keep working again on a tray, on a plate. It sits like this. Ooh, mine's running around. If you want it to set really quickly, it sticks into the fridge. Hey, buddy. It sticks into the fridge for a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, but they're also ready to go right now. And I'm actually gonna pop one in. So everything in here could be had raw, right? Just ready to go.
How much is 1/4 cup?
Of the flaxseed, like how
Of
do
the
I
flax.
use that with the measuring cup?
Two of
You make all you
one.
want.
It's dirty, but this is what I got.
It should show you on the side.
No, it's 1/2. It starts at
I'd
1/2.
love to see folks who have already made any amount of balls just to show what you have so far.
A quarter cup measure. A quarter cup is also 4 tablespoons. So you could just use a soup spoon like this, roughly a tablespoon. 4 of those is a quarter cup.
Or
I
just
didn't see
half
it.
of the 1/2 cup. If it says 1/2 cup on your measuring cup, then just do half of that. Just fill it to about halfway to that 1/2 measure.
1 1/2 or just a 1/2 a cup?
Just 1/2.
Like,
And
like,
you're doing the flax, correct?
yes.
So you don't even need a half, you just need a quarter, and a quarter would be 1/2 of the half. So
Thank
just,
you.
you're just estimating. It's not a big deal, honestly. Even
I
if you
was
ended up
never
with
good
a
at
half a
this.
cup of flaxseed, it wouldn't be the end of the world, so.
I was never good at the measuring and all that. Thank you.
No worries. That's what's fun about this recipe, like Tamika was saying. It doesn't require being super precise. What it just needs to do is kind of stick together, so. And even that, if it's not sticking together at the end, you can add a little more sunflower butter to add moisture to help it stick, or honey, either one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to show off
Yeah.
their concoctions here? I've seen a couple. So Celia looks like, she says so good.
Nice.
Oh, Jayla,
Nice.
well done.
Well done. So these go into the refrigerator. Depends on where if you're really, really cool in your house, it's fine. But what happens when it goes into the fridge, that butter and that honey, it hardens a little bit. And so it makes it a little bit more firm. So I'd stick those into the fridge just for a few minutes to harden them so it can it sets for a minute, and then they're ready to go. Now, this recipe is a basic energy bite, right? Energy bite is how usually protein, a butter of some sort, whether it's sunflower butter or if it's safe to do so, peanut butter or almond butter. It has add-ins. So my add-in today was cranberry. Someone asked about chips. That could happen. Coconut flakes could happen too. Dried apricots. Think of anything that goes into trail mix. What's your favorite trail mix? Whatever goes into trail mix could go into this. And the binding agent of the nut butter or the sunflower butter and the honey pulls your trail mix together into an easy ball that you can pop into your mouth. Now, some folks put them on sticks, right? Like a little popper into a Ziploc bag, but these are super, I think, easy to make. And most of these things you may have at home in some fashion. Some folks have put cereal in it, so you can put some Rice Krispies can go in here if you want it. So it's really a blank canvas, like an empty slate, and you can add things or remove things based on your palette. But these look really, really good, guys. I see some finger licking. I do the same thing. Don't waste it. Just enjoy it. Any more questions?
You want to give me a hand here? It's not really getting sticky.
Tell me.
What should I do? Give me some advice. It's really not.
Do you mind sticking the spoon and using your hands at this point and using your fingers to squeeze them together like you're making a dough?
I just feel like we need more sticky. So maybe some honey or.
You probably have extra honey hanging out, probably another tablespoon or so.
And is the apple in there? Did the apple go in? Okay.
Yeah.
I can barely see it.
I would try using my fingers to combine the ingredients because all the heat from your hands, the palm of your hands, will start to melt some of the ingredients together and make it combine. If that doesn't work, I'd add some more honey.
Thank you.
The thing about this, you can save it. You're fine. It's a matter of adjusting and you'll make them. You're doing really well. Yeah. So I'd say ditch the spoon if it's okay with you, some clean hands, and just use your fingers to combine, to squeeze the ingredients together. You're forcing them to stick together. They're friends. They really want to stick together. All right. Has everyone else had their balls combined? Yeah, you guys are awesome. Is it Liza? Keep working. We're still here.
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay. But maybe Gay can assist with.
Yes, I'm done.
You bet. I got it.
Great. Guys, thank you so much for being on the session. You guys did amazing. Again, these are just blank canvases. You can add, you can take away. In the summertime, these are great to pack in a lunchbox. Someone starts to make lunch for themselves. These are great in your lunchbox as well. They're also like really cute gifts to give to your friends. So thanks for having me. And I'm always, as usual, I enjoy hanging out with you guys. There's a whole production happening in some of these rooms. I love it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, everybody keep working who's working. We still got a couple minutes, but let's give a little round of applause for Chef Tamika and yourselves.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Really good work. And I am so excited to do this right after my Zoom because I am starving right now watching all these amazing concoctions.
I'm eating, sorry.
So just like Chef Tamika said, remember, this is all about experimenting. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like she said, baking is a science, cooking and this is more of an art, right? You can take liberties. You can add things that maybe we don't have here. So it's all about experimentation and obviously nobody is perfect. So all we can do is our best. When you guys, I know I'm you've got a question. How long do we know without tasting? Once you have your energy balls ready to go, you can taste them right away. They are ready to eat. Everything within there is delicious and will give you some energy here this evening. So if those of you who have wrapped up, I did drop our post-survey link in the chat here. If you get a chance, we would love to hear your feedback. We want to know how you're feeling, what was your favorite part of the class, what we can do better so we can make sure that these cooking classes are one of the best parts of your month. And with that being said, remember, we are able to do this together and you can enjoy this with your family. You can share these with your friends. That's what it's all about, right? Is enjoying food together with friends and family. So real quick before we close up, I'll allow for some more people to enter into our post-class survey here. Let's see. Oh, everybody had fun tonight. I love to see that. Energy balls were yummy. Yes. Let's see if favorite part of the class. Of course, Chef Tamika is always helpful and engaging. She is a champion. And great. Well, we'll wait for that. Are there any other questions before we close up and let you get into some more eating?
A couple of people were asking if you can bake them. I mean, I think the answer to that's no, but just want to make sure that people saw that.
Yeah, what the heat will do is liquefy all your bindings. So think about if you've ever seen like really peanut butter on a really warm day is more liquidy in the oven, it will just totally liquefy out.
Thank you, Nick. So in a cake, all of their flourless cake, there's no other binding agent except for those two wet ingredients, which is the honey and the peanut butter. So there's nothing essentially holding it together except for the moisture. So when you bake this, I'd say don't try. You're gonna have a really, really nightmare on your hands to clean up that oven. So these are ready to go as is. There are cinnamon cookies you can have, or oatmeal cookies, which is different, but these are ready to go as is. And they do require it, yes.
Oh, so you recommend not to bake these kinds?
Do not bake these.
Okay.
They are purposely no bake. Everything here can be consumed as is. All right.
Excellent. And remember, we will follow up if you want to try this again. We will share the link to this video as well as the menu and ingredients recipe. So you can have a chance to make some more energy balls, hopefully for our next Elevate Youth trip soon. And Again, thank you to everyone for spending time with us this evening. Enjoy, and we can't wait to see you. It'll be later on this month, the end of the month. We'll have our next cooking class.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Have a happy summer. Enjoy. Happy eating.
Thank you very